Florida State is working to return to glory. The question is, how long will head coach Mike Norvell get to restore said glory, or at least some of it? Entering his third season with the Seminoles, boasting an 8-13 record over the past 2 seasons. He's made it clear that Jordan Travis, who split time both of those past 2 seasons, will be his starting quarterback. So that's not a question. And in fact, Mike Norvell really, really loves his quarterback. Here's more from him.
I see this in our quarterback. Right, Jeff talked about the excitement about watching Jordan Travis. Well, I am excited too, because I've watched the way that young man's embraced the process of his growth. I've watched the way that he's invested in his teammates, that he's developed his craft. Right, he knows what to do, and he's been able to focus on the little details of how to do it efficiently and effectively. And now all of that talent and all the things that he's been able to work towards is going to be showcased here in this year ahead.
Let's welcome in Florida State legend, great Danny Cannell, who is, do you frequent the Tallahassee Quarterback Club? What were we watching there? Explain this to me.
I have stood on that very stage in front of that podium that it takes place on Tuesday nights regularly throughout. I bet that was the kickoff to start the season. You talk to the boosters, you talk to your fan base, and Mike Norvell. Now, man, I'm a little upset with you because I don't feel the excitement in your voice like I do in mine. I got goosebumps on my arm, so fired up for the Seminoles. I'm just mad that you're not here matching energy with me.
I am excited on the inside. This is where I show I try to be a professional on the air, so I just don't want to let it see, but I'm very excited. So let's take a temperature then. How about that? Let's go with that. High of 86 today in Tallahassee. Mike Norvell was maybe like at 120. The temperature for the Seminoles heading into this season, where are you?
He's always at 120, and that's one of the things I like about Mike Norvell. He really does have a great enthusiasm, a great energy, but more importantly, a plan and a vision for where he wants to take this Florida State program. Now, it's interesting the way you phrase that question, like temperature. Are you talking hot seat, or are you talking like, hey, because I want to make sure that I don't get in trouble with Florida State fans saying, yeah, it's on fire in Tallahassee, and they're thinking, hey, if he doesn't win, he's gone. So I got to be very careful. But there's a ton of excitement about this program this year, and I'm cautiously optimistic too. I think he has a massive opportunity, and it all starts with basically a warm-up game, a preseason game against Duquesne this weekend before they have the biggest challenge of this early season, traveling to New Orleans to take on LSU. You heard him talking about Jordan Travis, and I was the guest coach for the spring game, so I got to spend a little time with Jordan Travis. The way he talks about him, how much he likes him, it's so understandable. He is a great kid. He does all the right things off the field. Like, if you were a mom, you would love him to date your daughter. Like, he's just a really good kid. He's an incredible athlete. He's got to develop as a passer. Like, that's the bottom line, is he has to develop as a passer. He is an elite runner. But the last 6 games last season, he had 9 touchdown passes, 1 interception, another 6 rushing touchdowns. All of a sudden, those numbers, the last half of the season, if you start translating that over the course of an entire season, they're really impressive. So I think that's what Mike Norvell is excited about, as well as Florida State fans.
So what sort of growth do you think we could see from Jordan Travis this upcoming season, having spent some time with him, looking at him over the past 2 years?
Well, one thing is his confidence level's got to be at an all-time high. There was a massive 4th down conversion against the Miami Hurricanes last year that started that process. Then it comes in, and this is his team. Last year, remember, Mackenzie Milton was there as well, and they weren't sure who was going to play the Notre Dame game to start off the season. Both of them saw reps. This is unequivocally Jordan Travis's team. So that's like the first thing. He's got the confidence of his teammates and his coaches. The next and probably more important thing is they've gone out and got him some weapons to work with on the outside. 4 transfers coming in from across the country, and 2 that really shine to me are Johnny Wilson and Micah Pittman, a couple guys that popped throughout the spring. They've got to step up for him. There have been some drops this last few years. I talked to Ron Dugans. He was my wide receiver. He's now the wide receiving coach there in Tallahassee, and he was so excited saying, man, this is the first time we have some depth at the position and some weapons to work with. So I think Jordan Travis has to be excited about the opportunity to actually throw some guys that can create some separation and make some plays for him.
Separation 6-7 for Johnny Wilson there, so that's a little bit. Let's talk about their record for this upcoming season. Mike Norvell, 8-13 over the past 2 seasons. He did win 2 more games last season than the one before, so that's a step up. They kick off the season on Saturday. What's your record prediction?
I've got him at 8-4, and the Vegas told most books have him at 7.5, so I'm over on that one. But here's the thing, Amanda. If they find out a way to beat LSU that week 2, I think they could see 9 and even 10 wins, because I think that could vault their confidence into the season. This is a team that really doesn't know how to win. It's kind of crazy to say that, as I was a part of a dynasty when it was devastating to lose. I think they've got a little bit too comfortable losing. They need to learn how to win. If they win that game against LSU, I think it's an easy over. If they don't, I still think they've got 8 wins against a very tough schedule. I mean, you see some of the opponents, 4 top 25 opponents on the schedule, and that does not include the LSU game or the Florida game at the end of the year, and a road trip to Miami is going to be tricky too. But I think this team is going to be much improved, and I do think it better be. I mean, just the honest reality of a Florida State fan base is they better be better, or else there's this massive figure coaching at an HBCU that's had a lot of success that happened to play at Florida State. That could complicate things for Michael Alford, the athletic director. I don't think we have to worry about that, because I think 8 wins propels this team to the future. But if he doesn't, watch out, because that Deion Sanders shadow is looming.
Let's talk about another coach on a hotter seat, I would assume, then Mike Norvell. Let's talk about Scott Frost at Nebraska. He's now been there since 2018, has yet to put up a winning season, coming off back-to-back seasons where they've only won 3 games. They're kicking off their season this weekend in Ireland, so that's got to be fun against Northwestern. Look, he was supposed to be their saving grace. That has not turned out. How much more patience do they have with Scott Frost?
Not much. I mean, they asked him to take a pay cut, and I think there was conversation should they part ways this past offseason, but it makes things complicated when he played at the school and he meant so much to the program, and he is the guy that they chose to come turn this thing around. But here's the thing I love about Nebraska. They were 3-9 last year, but they were competitive in almost every single game against some really good opponents, that they were in the game in the fourth quarter. And other games, like their last game against Iowa, pretty much was encapsulated their entire season. They were up big and then blew a lead. I mean, it was just like hit, rinse, wash, repeat for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Again, I do think this team is closer to turning it around. They got 22 transfers. Most importantly, Casey Thompson comes in at quarterback, where it was completely inconsistent with Adrian Martinez the last few years. I think they're going to get better stability there. I think they get the win in Ireland against Northwestern, and it propels them into a big turnaround season 2 for Scott Frost. Reminder, there was another coach who played at his university who had to take a pay cut because there was some dissension among the fans, and it was Jim Harbaugh. I think that worked out all right for Michigan. I think it works out not quite as great. I don't think Nebraska is going to the playoff, but I think they're going to pay dividends for sticking behind their guy.
You mentioned inconsistent quarterback play over the past couple of years. What is your confidence level in Casey Thompson then?
A lot. I actually think he's going to do really well. They also brought in Mark Whipple, the offensive coordinator who helped propel Kenny Pickett into a number 1 draft position, first-round draft pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to open this offense up somewhat. They're also going to utilize his athleticism, and they've got some weapons on the outside too. Among those 22 transfers is Trey Palmer from LSU. So I think you're going to see a little bit more of a wide-open offense. I don't think, he doesn't have Jordan Addison out there the way that Kenny Pickett did, but I do think Scott Frost brought in Mark Whipple for a reason, to let him open up this offense somewhat and utilize some of that offensive talent they got coming in. Don't get it twisted though. They still want to be physical, but they will utilize the pass game more with a quarterback in Casey Thompson, who I think is capable of moving the ball through the air.
You had a nice turnaround for Florida State when we were talking about them. What about Nebraska? 3-9 last season. I mean, maybe not a winning season, maybe so. 500, where are you leaning with them?
Oh, I think they're 7 wins minimum.
Okay.
I do think this is a team. I'm bullish on Nebraska as well. They were the best 3-9 team in the history of college football. Now, that's not a title you want to have, but again, most of their games were decided by 8 points or less. The schedule is manageable. I think they're 3-0 before they face Oklahoma, a team they gave fits to last year. I'm not going to say they win that one, but they could be 6-1, 5-1 at the halfway point before it gets really tricky in the latter portion of the season. I can see them beating Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin. They might have a 3-game stretch towards the end, which could feel like a setback, but I think they've already banked 6 wins by then. Maybe they squeeze out one more of those. So I think the Cornhuskers are a 7-win team at best, at worst. I think they could be 8 if they click on offense and get things going.
A lot of optimism from Danny Kanell today. You got to like that if you're a Cornhusker or Seminole fan. Danny, enjoy the next time you're up in Tallahassee on that podium. I want to see a video. I expect you to be just as fired up as Mike Norvell. Okay, are we ready for this?
Hey, if they're winning, I'll be just as fired up. So that remains to be seen.
Danny Kanell, thank you so much. You can check out more of Danny on the Cover 3 podcast, all things college football. You can scan that QR code to watch. You can listen wherever you find podcasts. Latest episode, getting your best bets for week 0. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.